What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a Q&A, as you can tell, and it's been about a year since I've done a Q&A video, so I figured I was probably due in for a new one, especially because I was seeing a lot of frequently asked questions on my Instagram and on YouTube comments and things like that. So as always, I posted a photo on my Instagram and asked you guys to leave all the questions you wanted answered in the comments below, and I got quite a few, and I got quite a few of the same questions, which was awesome. It made my life so much easier because I could narrow down the ones you guys really wanted to know, and I'm gonna answer them for you guys today. I'm literally sat on the floor, so if it looks a little weird and not normal, that's just because I felt like standing felt a little too formal for a Q&A, and I just wanted to sit and chill and answer your questions. So let's get started. So the first and the number one question that I'm not even gonna clickbait you guys to the end of the video and I'm just gonna answer it right away. This one got asked pretty much every other comment. This one was asked so much in so many different ways, meaning like, when's the wedding? Are you getting married in New York or Minnesota? Have you started planning? Are you gonna film any of it? All of the questions. So Pat and I have always said that we want to get married kind of like end of fall or end of summer, early fall. And when we came back from Ireland after we got engaged and started looking at venues, we realized that planning a wedding for this summer, end of summer, even fall, was gonna be pretty tight because there's so many things you have to do in advance. We really wanted to enjoy the wedding process and wedding planning process, being that we only plan to do this once in our lives. And something that I really wanted to do was take you guys along with the planning process, and it was just gonna be too rushed because, answering one of the other questions, we are planning on getting married in Minnesota. So when it comes to the question of what we've planned so far, the venue, check. That's like the main thing, the venue and the date. We got that zeroed in, squared away, our names are on it. A lot of the questions were, am I taking you guys along with me on the wedding planning process? And yes, that was my main thing. I really wanted you guys to, not only selfishly so I can look back on the memories, but also because I know stuff like that is very intimidating as a new bride especially, so having tips and tricks on like what I did. So I want to take you guys along, bridesmaids, my dresses, dress shopping at least, cake tasting, finding all of that fun stuff. It's gonna be really fun for me to vlog, but also show you guys. So this summer, you guys will see us ask our wedding party in really fun, creative ways, which I will do a whole video on, which I'm very excited for. So that's the big question. We are moving and shaking and getting all the wedding stuff sorted. But a question relating to wedding and engagement that I really wanted to answer, because it's a little bit more not about me and just in general my opinion. You are still in your 20s. Do you consider being 26 as engaged young? If you do, how do you handle it? It's something that I want to say is like, everyone's on their own timeline, and just because maybe like your closest friend has a really committed relationship and they're really close to being engaged but you're like super single, like you shouldn't feel bad about that, because you're just like, your timeline is like, you're just not ready yet. And so I feel like everybody has different timelines, and I don't want anyone to like look at my life and like me being engaged at 26 and like planning a wedding to be like, oh my gosh, I'm super behind on my life, because no, you're not. I wanted to really put that out there because I know social media can show a lot of like the highlight reel, and I know there's a lot of things that aren't said with that kind of stuff, and I just feel like I really wanted to say that, like, don't feel bad, girl, if you're single, like a lot of my friends are, and then a lot of my friends have babies. Like, everybody has their own time, if that makes sense. We both kind of said we want 2 kids, and we're very excited to have kids. We're not gonna rush into it right after we get married, but we've definitely talked about soonish after we get married. But you know, it's along the lines as the timeline thing that I was talking about. Like, I might have trouble getting pregnant. I don't know how it's gonna go. Maybe it'll happen right away. Who knows? But that's something that obviously I share a lot with you guys, or at least I try to for the most part. And I think once, you know, that part of our life starts happening, I think my channel will definitely switch up a little bit. You know, I'm gonna be showing you how to rock a pregnant belly and like cute outfits. So yeah, you guys definitely will know. As far as raising kids in New York City, this is stuff Pat and I have had actually serious conversations about, because it's something that is very different from how we grew up. We both grew up in the Midwest, very different than New York City. I feel like it's not one of those things that it's like a definite yes or a definite no. We have friends, like my friend Caitlin, she has an older sister that has 2 kids, and they live in an apartment, and the two boys have a bunk bed, and it's so cute, and they're like such a unit. I don't believe you need like a really big yard and a really big house to have a good family and it's just something that I'm okay with raising kids here. It would definitely be a challenge, but I think we've also talked about moving out of the city but staying on the East Coast, so it just kind of depends. As far as the clothing line goes, I definitely have moved along a little bit more on that. I've reached out to a few clothing brands, and it's just kind of something that I can't share too much about, but I'm just the type of person that if I'm gonna have a clothing line, I want a lot of control. I don't want to slap my name on something and tell you guys it's mine when I had nothing to do with it. Like, that's just not something I'll do. So I really want to have a lot of control and actually design pieces and create things that are affordable and awesome for you guys. So that's something that's definitely a goal. I really want that to happen, so hopefully brands can really believe in me, if that, without sounding corny, but it's a lot for a brand to take that risk, but it's also like there's a lot of collaboration that needs to happen to make that work. So I really hope that that's something that's out in the near future. For us, it was a little bit different because we had YouTube as a platform when we moved. So we knew we had like a definite job while moving here. I know two of my friends, Carrie and Julia, they went to fashion school out here, and then from the dorms, they just moved into an apartment after they got jobs. But I definitely think the biggest thing would be to have some sort of a plan when moving out here as far as like where your income is coming from and your job, because it is really expensive. There's no beating around the bush with that. Like apartments are so expensive. And I saw one girl ask, you know, a lot of them look super run down when looking for apartments. And they do. I remember Pat and I looking online, and like this apartment that we're in right now, without all of our added stuff that makes it feel like a home, it just is like empty walls, you know? It has a lot of like cool features, but definitely when looking for apartments, Carrie and Julia's apartment, for instance, like Carrie's like, it's so ugly, but then they get all their stuff in there and decorate it really cute, and you get kind of creative, and it works. Now I will say, for Pat and I, the hardest thing about moving to New York was leaving all of our friends. Pat and I moved straight out of college, basically. We both had separate friend groups because we did meet in college, and then when we just kind of randomly up and moved to New York, we literally knew Carrie, and that's it. It was a lot. It was a strain on our relationship for sure. That was something that we really had to overcome, because not only do we see each other a lot for work, but we see each other a lot just day to day, especially without having friends to go to. That was really, really difficult, and so it took a while. It took almost like a year and a half to make like a solid friend group here. So keep that in mind. You're not gonna move here right away and like have like best friends. It's gonna be a little bit challenging, but just know that it's so worth it, because New York is literally the best place to live, in my opinion. I love it here. I did graduate from college. Both Pat and I did. I graduated with a degree in public relations and marketing. So if I wasn't doing YouTube, I can't say. I used to always be like, I'd probably be doing something in that, but like you really don't know, especially if like you are just graduating college. You know how hard it is to apply for jobs. I'm only speaking because a lot of my friends went through that, are still going through that. Like, to get a job in the field that you studied is really, really difficult. So who knows what I would be doing. If I had my pick, I would have loved to work at something in fashion, whether that was an advertising company, a PR company, like anything with fashion. Also, I always had this like weird fascination with wanting to be a chef. I don't think I could do it, just because I would have a hard time like handling meat. Bad days are really, really shitty. Honestly, Pat really helps. He's really good at making me feel better and not overthinking. I feel like that's one of the things that I do really, like, to a fault. I overthink almost everything, and it really gets me upset, and he's really good about making me feel better. I usually dive into like a show, or I listen to like a good album or something like that, because for me, my biggest thing that has always helped me is like being distracted. I get into my head a lot, and if I sit there and I just like keep thinking and thinking and thinking, like I'm gonna go crazy. But I would love to have people comment on what helps them. I feel like that's something that a lot of people deal with, and I feel like it would be really helpful for everybody's kind of take on that. So leave a comment on what you do when you're having a bad day. This one for me probably would be that I'm learning to embrace, because I haven't mastered it. I'm not like the most confident person in the world, but it's definitely me being shy. And that might sound really weird because I feel like you would think I would say like something physical, but for me it's like I always hated being the shy girl. I always wanted to be that girl that like you walk into a room and like everybody wants to talk to you. You're like the life of the party. Like I'm around, like when I'm around people that I really, really love and it's like a small group, like I thrive. But when I'm like out meeting new people, I feel like I go through like these, like I clam up, I get really nervous. It's something that I've always struggled with ever since I was young. I remember it really being really bad in high school. I just like hated being the one starting the conversations. I hated going up in front of class. I was just always really, really shy. And it's something that I was always insecure about because it's something that I wanted to change, but it's like so deep rooted into me that I can't help it sometimes. And I think I'm learning to just accept the fact that I am a little bit more quiet, especially around big settings, and I'm working on it. And I'm working on not only like, you know, being a little bit more outgoing, but also embracing the fact that I'm not gonna be a certain personality type that I want to, because you can't change that. My favorite is the one he just got, which you guys saw in my week in my life, the one I last uploaded. It's the gypsy hand holding the Jack of Hearts. It's just very pat for a lot of different reasons, but I absolutely love it. And it was cool because he was really nervous to put something on his arm, and he did it, and I admire him a lot. I look up to him for how much he steps out of his comfort zone. So that's pretty cool. And yes, I do want a tattoo. I'm really nervous about it, but I definitely want one. I love the look of like single needle, like really tiny tattoos. So I think this is the year that I really want to do it. I just gotta send it and do it. And if I do, I'm gonna take you guys along with. So if you guys don't know a brief story of how Carrie and I met, she had messaged me on Twitter, I think. Oh my gosh, I'm in Minnesota, you're in Chicago, we're so close. And then we just like randomly decided to like meet up and go shopping in Chicago. Like it was such a weird thing because that was so long ago. I feel like the internet is so different now. Like for instance, we met Caitlin. I think you've seen her in a couple of vlogs. We met her on a subway train and she was like, I watch your videos. And I was like, cool, like we started chatting, and then yeah, then we just kept hanging out. And so it's very random how that happens, but it does. Definitely still open to it, but it is kind of weird how followers and stuff can like taint how people think of you and like if they talk to you or not. I find that to be so weird. It's such a weird age that we're living in now because that exists. I don't know, it's weird to me. We can all say it together, Vampire Diaries. I absolutely love that show. I want to live in it, even though I would probably get killed. I feel like everyone got killed on that show. I think I would have to say Emma Watson. I think she would do a really good job at being me, hopefully. And I love her, so yeah. This one has been my favorite for quite a minute, and that is the Ace family. They are so fun. I feel like everybody knows who they are. They grew so quickly. I remember I first subscribed to them when they had like 1 million, maybe? Or just about to hit 1 million, and now they have like 7. They're insane. They're so cool. I love them. I want to be best friends with them. But yeah, they're awesome. By far, at least right now, The Greatest Showman. I love The Greatest Showman. I also love Zendaya so much. I want to be her. I think she's like, at the moment, my girl celebrity crush. It's always Nina Dobrev, but I love Zendaya. She's cool. She's really cool. And I also really like the movie. Kat and I have been going crazy listening to the soundtrack. It's just a good one. We like it. So that is it for my Q&A. I really hope you guys liked it. I always blabber, so hopefully I answered enough questions and made sense. I am going to be doing my first ever Instagram live, so make sure you're following me on Instagram so I can answer your questions if I didn't get to it in this video. Stay tuned for my next video because I'm going to show you guys how I style my short hair and like my favorite ways to wear it. So yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!